Hello and welcome to the Kiki London YouTube channel. My name's Amanda and in today's video I'm going to be sharing with you guys a winter opal gel polish set of nails. So I really hope you all enjoy watching. I also just wanted to take a moment to wish you all a happy new year. I know 2021 probably hasn't got off to the best start, but I do hope that it's a good one for us all. But on with the nails. So I'm coming in first of all with the Kiki London rubber base coat. I have already prepped my tips by buffing off the shine and wiping over them with an alcohol pad. So I'm able to come straight in with that base coat. Now, if you was doing this set on yourself, you would do all of your prep first of all before coming in with the base coat. Now I'm using the rubber base, and as I said in the previous video, this is my preferred base coat, especially when I'm working on myself, because the rubber base is fab if you have any weak or brittle nails. It's just got that extra bit of strength to it. It is slightly thicker, but as you can see here, you can really work it into the nail and get a nice thin coat, and it self levels absolutely beautifully as well. So although it is that little bit thicker, you won't be adding any extra bulkiness to this set. So I'm just going to apply a nice thin layer of this to all of the nails. And like I said, I work it into the nail plate. So I kind of, when I'm doing this on myself, I'll really scrub it in to the natural nail. And I just find that that gives a really good adhesion. And when you combine this with the rubber top coat, you get even more added strength to your nails. So again, it's really good for clients or yourselves if you have thin or weaker nails. So once I have finished applying all of this, I'm just going to quickly show you guys how smooth and even it looks, considering it has a slightly thicker consistency. And when I say that it has a slightly thicker consistency, I'm comparing that to the Kiki London Classic base coat. So now that I've finished applying the base coat, I've popped that in to cure for 30 seconds. And here I'm just going to show you guys the three base colours I'm going to be using. So first up, we have the gorgeous Sapphire Sparkle, and then here is Stone Blue. Both of these colours are from the new Winter 2020 collection. I do have a swatch video that shows all 6 of the colours in that collection, so I'll link that in the description box below. And the third colour that I'm going to be using is Moonlight Pearl. This is one of my absolute favourite colours from Kiki London, so I'm excited to share it with you all. So I'm just going to come in now and apply that first coat of colour. So I'm starting off with the gorgeous Sapphire Sparkle. As you can see, this is quite a royal blue gel, base gel with glitter sparkles. The royal blue does look a little bit transparent. It has that jelly effect to it, but you'll get full coverage once you come in and apply the second coat. And then here we have the Stone Blue. This has that gorgeous dusky grey undertone to it. Now when I'm applying my first coat of colours, as I have said in previous gel polish videos up on the channel, I do like to apply my my first coat of colour really thin. So I apply it the same sort of thickness as I apply the base coat. I just really work it into that base coat. I'm not worrying about the coverage. I'm not worrying if it looks a little bit streaky, because I always find that gel polish works better in thinner layers. And when you come in with your second coat of colour, that's where the colour and the pigmentation will really pop and you'll get your full coverage. So the Moonlight Pearl has quite a transparent effect to it. It's a very subtle shimmery colour. You can layer it over other colours and it gives off a gorgeous effect. I especially like layering it over the French white. But today I decided to use it on its own because I love the opal effect that it gives off, and that's the effect that I was going for this set of nails. It does get a little bit more pigmentation on the second coat, however. Now that I've got the first coat of colour applied, I'm going to pop these in to cure for 30 seconds. And as you can see pictured here, I use the 96 watt Deluxe LED lamp from Kiki London. Now I absolutely love this lamp. It has 4 timer settings, which I find amazing. So you've got your classic 30 and 60 second setting, but then you also have a 10-second setting, which is great for flash curing when you're doing nail art. And it also has a 99-second low heat mode, which is really good as well. I have to say I've used all 4 of the timers and I've never experienced any heat spikes or anything like that, even when I'm working with hard gels or builder gels. So it's really good. It works, it's compatible with all gels. And it's got the removable bottom, which I absolutely love, because if you're doing pedicures, you can take the removable bottom tray off and it just fits over toes absolutely perfectly. So it's an all-round a really good lamp, and especially if you use Kiki London gel polishes, it's always recommended that you use the lamp because that has been tested and works best with the gels. So if you are looking for a gel polish lamp, LED lamp, I just wanted to give that one a bit of a shout out, as I upgraded to it recently and I'm absolutely loving it. Anyway, here you can see I'm coming in now and applying that second coat of colour, and this is where the pigmentation really comes through in those gel polishes. So I apply my second coat of colour exactly the same as the first. I like to keep it nice and thin, and you don't need to apply thick coats, especially with the Kiki London gels, because they are highly pigmented. So 2 thin coats is absolutely perfect. And once again, I will pop them in to cure for 30 seconds. Now that we have our colour finished, we're going to move on to some of the nail art. So I'm going to take off the 2 stone blue nails, as they're the first 2 nails that I'm going to be working on, and these 2 are going to be the same. And these are the ones that are going to have the opal effect that we're going for. And then I'm taking my nail palette, some glitters and chrome, and the Kiki London classic base coat. So I'm basically going to be using the base coat to apply these glitters and chromes to the nails. So I'm just going to pop some down on the palette so that I don't contaminate my bottle of base coat. You don't need loads, but just a nice amount there ready to use. And then I'm just going to make sure that everything's nicely accessible for me. When you're doing any nail art, it's a lot easier if you have everything you need on hand and within easy reach. And then I'm just going to use a fine nail art brush. I'm going to really rub it into that base coat so that I've got a generous amount on my brush. And then I'm just applying it to the top and the bottom of the nail. I'm not covering the entire nail with the base coat. I'm just popping this down where I want my glitter. And then I'm dipping into that base coat and then dipping into the raw glitter. So the glitter I'm using here to begin with is a super fine glitter mix. And as you can see, it's already got that opal colour shift to it. So it works really well for the design that I wanted to create. But I'm basically just applying that into the base coat that we already applied. And by applying that small amount of base coat, it just means you can really move your glitter around easily. And it just helps adhere it to the colour without it feeling too gritty or sticking into your brush and things like that. So I just find it that little bit easier to work with a base coat. You can also do this with a top coat. However, I personally prefer using the base coat because it has that tacky layer. So it means you can layer up your glitters and then come in and top coat at the end. I did decide that I wanted to add in a little bit more of an iridescent glitter mix. So I'm applying that exactly the same as that opal effect one. I'm not using loads of glitter because it's a super fine glitter mix. It looks like I'm using a lot, but I'm actually only applying quite a little amount. And super fine glitter mixes, they work really well with gel polish because they're not going to add too much bulk to the nail, especially in a design like this where I wanted to add some chunkier pieces of glitter. Chunky glitters can make gel polish nails look that little bit bulky, but if you pop a super fine glitter underneath, you don't actually need to use very much of the chunky glitter, so you're able to keep your nail art nice and thin. Now I'm applying that chunkier glitter exactly the same as before. I'm dipping into my base coat and then applying it to the nail. I'm making sure those chunkier pieces are lying nice and flat and that there's not too many of them overlapping. Now that I'm happy with that one, I'm just going to pop that aside and work on the second nail. This is pretty much exactly the same, but I've zoomed in a little bit more just so you can see how I'm working my brush and applying those glitters. So I start off with that thin layer of base coat and I'm only applying that roughly where I want my glitters to be. Then I'm dipping into those glitters and just working them into that base coat. Now I find it easier to make sure my brush is loaded with base coat, not excessively loaded, but has a nice amount on it that I'm able to move those glitter pieces around nice and easily. And I'm sort of fading them out into the middle, but I'm not taking them too far into the middle of the nail because I do want to be able to see some of that stone blue colour in the design. Then I'm coming in with the iridescent mix, just tapping a little bit of that on here and there, just because it will give off a different effect when it reflects in the light to the first mix that I used. And again, just fading that ever so slightly in the middle of the nail, just so there's not a harsh line. And then I'm going to tap on those chunkier pieces. So you can see here, I'm really moving those pieces of glitter around, but I am working quite gently. I'm coming in with a little bit more base gel if I'm struggling to move the pieces to where I want them to be. I'm trying to focus these more in the center of the nail and only take one or two to the side walls, because it is the side walls where you'll notice any bulk. And then you will see there, I just run my finger along the sides of the nail just to make sure that none of those glitter pieces are going over into the side walls. I'm then going to pop those two nails in to cure for 30 seconds to hold the glitter pieces in place before moving on to the next step. Now for the next step, I'm going to be using a tiny amount of chrome powder. So to apply this, I'm dipping into that base coat, but I'm only applying a real little amount of it to my brush. You will see that I go into the base coat and then rub a lot of it off of my brush. And this is because I don't want to pick up too much of that chrome powder, because it can be a little bit overpowering, and I want it to have quite a subtle effect in the nail design. And then I'm just running that chrome powder from the glitter into the center of the nail, just so it looks like little swirls running into the center of the nail. It does look at this point a little bit mishmash, but once we add the next few steps and top coat, it kind of all comes together, and at the end I thought it looked super pretty. And by having the different types of glitter, so the opal and the iridescent, and then the shine from the chrome powders, when it reflects in the light at the end, it just gives off so many different colors and looks really, really pretty. So just doing the same here on that second nail, and then I'm going to pop those in to cure as well. So then again, I'm curing them for 30 seconds. Now, as it says, if you are using a UV lamp, you will need to cure between 1 and 2 minutes, depending on the lamp you're using. Now, for the next step of the design, I'm going to be using some of the Kiki London French White and that base coat again. So what I'm doing is popping down some of the French White onto my palette and then popping down some of the base coat. And I'm going to mix these two together to create a translucent white. I want it to be a really soft milky white. I don't want there to be hardly any pigmentation, because I just want it to be a wash of colour over those glitters to get that milky effect. So you can see here I'm playing around, adding a little bit more base coat at a time until I'm happy with the colour that I've got. So I did come in with roughly 3 to 4 drops of the base coat to 1 drop of the white, and that's probably roughly the right ratio to get a nice milky effect white. And then what I'm going to do is, using a gel brush, I'm just going to take a little bit of this and work it over the glitter. And this is how we're going to create that opal effect. So I'm mainly focusing this white gel mix over that glitter area. I do blend it into the middle of the nail a little bit, but then I pull off some of that colour before curing, because like I said, we don't want to lose too much of the stone blue. We do still want that to be there in the design. But I'm just working that around the glitter. It doesn't matter if it looks a little bit more white in some areas and a little bit more milky in some areas, because that gives off the whole opal stone look. So here you can see I'm just dabbing on a little bit more white here and there. And then I'm going to do exactly the same on the second nail. So just working it into that glitter, and this layer helps as well with encapsulating that glitter, because you're working it around the glitter pieces and it helps give you a nice smooth nail. But further along in the video, I will show you how I achieve a smooth top to these nails. So here you can see I just wiped off some of that milky gel polish down the center of the nail, and then I'm going to pop those in to cure. So here's what our two nails look like now that they have cured. So I'm now going to come in and show you how I would encapsulate the glitters in for a gel polish set nails. Now they do look quite bumpy, and that's because we have added 2 layers of glitter. So what I'm going to do is take my Kiki London rubber top coat. Now this is very similar to the rubber base coat with its consistency, but it's designed to go on top of the nails, and it works absolutely amazingly for encapsulating your glitters. So because we've added 2 layers of glitter, they are going to be a little more thicker than your regular gel polish set, because if you think you just done a classic gel polish mani, you've just got your base, your 2 coats of colour and your top coat. So we have got 1 or 2 extra layers here because it's a nail art design. So these kind of designs do work better on slightly longer nails, because you wouldn't notice that extra bulkiness. But I'm going to show you how I achieve them as thin as I can possibly do them while still encapsulating that glitter in and achieving a smooth nail. So I take my rubber top coat and I apply a layer to the entire nail, keeping it nice and even and working it around those glitter pieces so that it's as smooth as possible. Because it's rubber top coat, it's slightly thicker and it self-levels beautifully. So you end up with quite a smooth nail, although you have applied the glitter. But then what I like to come in and do is take my Kiki London buffer. So this buffer has a 100 and 180 grit side. I like to take the 100 grit side and just file the sidewalls and the free edge. This will just help those look a little less bulky from the layers that you've applied. And then I'm going to go over the entire nail, and I'm doing this really gently. The video is sped up, so it does look as though I'm being a little bit more vigorous than I am, but this just really smooths out the nail. Where you've got the glitters and you apply the top coat, they can look a little bit bumpy. So this just smooths that out while still encapsulating those glitters. I do, however, still come in at the end with my classic no wipe top coat and apply that just to get that high shine back from buffing. But this way it really seals your glitter in without leaving you with a rough or bulky nail. So I'm just going to really focus that on the sidewalls as well, because like I said, this is where you will notice any bulk to the nail. So just bring the shape back, because a lot of people like to have a nice crisp shape to their nails. Now I did that to both of the nails, and as you can see now, they look a hell of a lot more smoother than they did before. And I'm then just going to take one of the Kiki London alcohol wipes and give them a clean. Although I'm not top coating them just yet, I'm going to top coat them at the end with the other nails. I just want to make sure that all of that dust from buffing is removed. I love these alcohol pads, by the way. They're fab for when you're prepping your nails as well. Before coming in, you can really sanitize and wipe the nail plate good with them. But then they are fab as well if you need to remove the tacky layer of your gel polish, or if you need to clean up like I am here. I'm really making sure to remove all of that dust because you don't want any of it getting in your top coat. And then I'm just going to wipe over my surface as well, just because there will be some on there and we don't want it to transfer onto our next couple of nails. So here we have 3 nails left. So I've got the 2 sapphire sparkles and the Moonlight Pearl in the center. So the Moonlight Pearl is what I'm going to work on next. And here I'm just going to apply a little snowflake and some opal crystals, because this is a winter design. I wanted to include something a little wintry. So here again, I'm coming in with the rubber top coat, and again, this is also fab for applying your crystals or your embellishments. Because it's that little bit thicker, they sink into the top coat, and then when you cure them, it holds them in place for the duration of your set of nails. So I applied a nice even layer of that, and then I'm just popping down my snowflake. I'm trying to get this in the center of the nail as best as possible. And what I love about applying crystals or embellishments with the gel is you're able to move them around as much as you like without worrying about them setting in place. Sometimes if you apply your crystals with a glue, you might find that the crystal is not fully center and it's dried, and then you have to remove it and buff the nail and all of that, and it just ends up a little bit faff. But by applying the crystals with the rubber top coat, you're able to move them around and play about with your design as much as you like without worrying about the crystals setting in place until you pop that nail in to cure. Here I'm just adding my opal crystals to the sides, to the ends, sorry, of my snowflake, just to draw attention to this now a little bit more. I wanted it to be a little bit blingy, and I love opal crystals. I love opal anything in general, and that was what inspired me to do this set of nails. I see some really beautiful white opal crystals, and I thought, it'd be nice to try and think up of a little nail design with those in mind. And this nail actually ended up really reminding me of those. So as you can see, I'm really taking my time, although the video is sped up, to get my crystals where I want them to be. I'm trying to get them as centered as possible so that it looks nice and appealing to the eye. So do take your time with these little bits of your design. They can be the sort of steps that get a little bit frustrating and you just want to rush through, but if you take your time, it will be worth it in the end. Now that I'm happy with how they're placed, I'm going to pop that in to cure for 30 seconds. And that is all of our nail art done. Now don't worry, I haven't forgot about the 2 sapphire sparkle nails, but I'm just going to top coat these 2 first. So I'm going to be top coating these 2 nails with the no wipe top coat. This is my favourite top coat from Kiki London. It is just so shiny, it's absolutely beautiful. And I'm going to be applying this to those 2 opal effect nails. I don't need to top coat the nail where I've applied the crystal, because we've already set those in the top coat. So that's already done. You could go around them with a second coat if you wanted to, but I personally didn't feel the need to. So I'm just going to apply this top coat to the first two nails because I wanted these to be nice and shiny, so it really shows off that opal effect. But then I decided that on the sapphire sparkle nails, although I was leaving them as plain sapphire sparkle, I decided I would do these two matte. So I'm going to be coming in with the Kiki London No Wipe Matte Top Coat. Now I absolutely love glitter nails with a matte top coat. I think it just looks super pretty, but I was really pleased with how the sapphire sparkle looked matte because it really worked with the opal set. It gave off a bit of a dark opal vibe. I haven't actually done sapphire sparkle matte myself before, so I was really shocked with how it looked. It looked so pretty and I was really pleased with how it worked with the entire set. So I was glad that I ended up leaving those two nails plain and just popping the matte top coat over the top of those. So this is what sapphire sparkle looks like shiny. I then popped it in to cure in my LED lamp, and then this is how they looked once they had cured. So I really, like I said, I just love the matte effect. I was really shocked with how pretty it looked. And then that, guys, is the end of the video. I really hope you enjoyed this design. Please do let me know your thoughts on it in the comments below. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel, I would absolutely love it if you hit the subscribe button. I will be uploading new videos every Friday, so if you make sure you're subscribed, you won't miss out. Once again, I hope you all have a wonderful 2021, and I shall hopefully see you all again in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.